It is almost dark, and you are sitting on your back steps with a glass of water going warm beside your foot. The porch light is on above your head, and the same small cloud of moths is turning around it. That turns around it every single night. Nothing is happening. This is the most ordinary evening of your life, and then something crosses the light. It is dark, and it is fast, and it is gone before your eyes can follow it. You sit up, you wait 10 seconds, and it comes again from the other side of the yard, and now you are paying attention. And the thing that is wrong takes a moment to land on you. You can hear everything else out here. You can hear a car 3 streets away. You can hear the moths hitting the glass of the light. You can even hear the grass moving. But whatever is flying over your lawn makes no sound at all. No wingbeat, no rustle, no call. It is cutting through the air above your head in total silence, and it is not flying like a bird. A bird commits to a line. This thing does not. It snaps sideways. It stops. It drops 6 feet, like something dropped it. It flicks around the corner of your house and comes back over your shoulder from behind you, and you never hear it turn. And then it passes straight through the beam of the porch light, and for a quarter of a second you see it properly, and you stand up before you have decided to, because there were no feathers on that animal. There was thin stretched skin, pulled open between long thin fingers. There was a small folded face and 2 ears far too big for it, and the whole thing was smaller than your hand. So you go inside, you slide the door shut behind you, and you say, "There is a bat over the yard," and whoever you say it to gives you the 3 sentences everybody gives you. They are blind, they drink blood, they get caught in your hair, and by the way, one of them out there has rabies, so keep the windows closed tonight. And here is the thing. Not one of those sentences is true. She is not blind. Her eyes work perfectly well. She just does not need them out here. She is not a mouse with wings either. She is not related to mice or to rats in any way at all, out of more than 1,400 kinds of bat. Alive on this planet, exactly 3 drink blood, and all 3 of them live thousands of miles away and feed on cattle that are already asleep, and she has no interest in your hair. She can find an insect the size of a grain of rice in complete blackness, so she is not about to blunder into the biggest object in the garden. And rabies in bats is genuinely rare. Although if you ever find one sitting on the ground, do not pick her up with bare hands. There are people whose whole job is coming out to collect her. And now the part that turns this story inside out. 1 in every 5 kinds of mammal alive today is a bat. She is not a strange exception at the edge of nature. She belongs to one of the most successful groups of animals that has ever existed. And the one working your yard tonight is almost certainly a mother. She has 1 baby a year. She has about 4 hours before the air gets too cold for the insects. And when she is finished, she is not going to fly off into the woods somewhere. She is going home. And home is inside the wall of the house you're leaning against. She was here before you were. She found the gap in your roofline the same summer she was born, and she has come back to it every year since a crack. The width of your thumb is a house to her. The space behind a loose shutter, the lip under a lifted roof tile, the hollow strip between 2 bricks, the dark peak of the attic, the underside of the bridge at the end of the road, a barn, a bell tower, a chimney. Nobody uses any dry, dark slot that is warmer than the night. And she does not dig. She does not build. She does not gnaw. She has never chewed a wire in her life, and she leaves no hole behind her because she never made one. She squeezes into a crack that was already there. And then she does the strangest ordinary thing in the animal world. She turns herself upside down and lets go, and it costs her nothing. Her feet are built so that her own falling weight pulls the tendons tight and locks her toes shut around the beam. So hanging is not work for her. It is rest. She can sleep like that for 20 hours and never use a muscle, and she spends a good part of that time cleaning. She works her teeth through her fur and licks her wing skin over and over like a cat with a paw. A bat is one of the tidiest animals you will ever share a wall with, and she is not up there alone. A summer roost is mother's only 20 or 200 of them, packed together in one warm breathing bundle. And the reason is simple. She is too small to afford to heat her own body, so they pool the heat between them and keep the babies in the warmest part of the crack. Then the light outside drops past a certain point, and something in her knows within a minute or two, the same minute every evening, and they pour out of that gap one after another, and she is instantly working the same route. She flew last night down the hedge line, along the fence, 3 loops around the big tree past your porch light because the light gathers her dinner for her. She is not wandering out there. She has landmarks. She knows the shape of your yard better than you do, and if she gets thirsty, she does not land. She comes down low over the flattest water she can find, a pond, a still swimming pool, a horse trough, your dog bowl, and drinks on the move with her mouth open and lifts away again. And if the night turns cold on her, she does something that would stop your heart if you found her doing it. She goes cold on purpose. She lets her body temperature fall and her heart slow from over 1,000 beats a minute down to almost nothing. And she hangs there stiff and unresponsive, looking exactly like a small dead thing hooked to a rafter until the weather is worth waking up for. And then winter comes and everything she eats disappears from the world. So she flies to a cold, damp cellar or a cave or a deep crack in a cliff and shuts herself down for months, breathing minutes apart, living off a lump of fat about the weight of a coin. And every time somebody opens opens that door in January and shines a light on her. Out of curiosity, she burns 2 weeks of that fat just warming up enough to be afraid. Now go back to the thing that made you stand up, the silence, because that silence was never real. She was screaming the entire time she was over your yard. She throws out a hard stream of clicks and shrieks pitched so high that human ears simply cannot pick them up. And if you could hear her the way she hears herself, she would be louder than a smoke alarm held against the side of your head. Then she listens for those shouts coming back off the world and out of the echoes. She builds a picture of everything around her, and the picture is not vague. She can find a wire thinner than one of your hairs, in total darkness, and fly around it. She can hear the difference between a leaf and a moth, sitting still on that leaf. Her own voice is loud enough to hurt her, so a tiny muscle pulls her ears shut for the instant she shouts and opens them in time to catch the echo, hundreds of times a minute. And the moths are not helpless. In this, some of them grew ears for one purpose, only to hear her coming, and the moment they do, they fold their wings and drop out of the sky. Others answer her with clicks of their own that smear her hearing so she cannot tell where they are. There is an argument going on above your grass every night that has been running for millions of years and you have never heard 1 second of it, and she is not flying the way a bird flies, she is flying with her hands. The frame holding that skin open is 4 impossibly long fingers with a small thumb and claw at the top edge that she climbs. With she feels the air moving over tiny hairs across the wing, skin, and corrects 100 times a second. And when she catches something, she cups that skin like a hand and scoops it out of the air or flicks it into the pocket of skin between her legs and swallows it without stopping. And on a good night, she takes something close to 1,000 small insects. In an hour, the mosquitoes that were coming for your arms, the beetles chewing through the field behind your house. And if that wing tears, it grows back, which is not a thing most animals get to do. And then there is her age. She is the size of a plum, and her heart can beat 1,000 times a minute. And by every rule, we know she should live 2 years like a mouse. Instead, she can live 20 and 30, and one wild bat was found alive at 41 years old, which makes so little sense that there are scientists studying her right now, hoping she will explain it to us. And the baby she's feeding tonight came into the world while she was hanging upside down. She caught it as it arrived, and it weighed a quarter of what she weighs, and it held onto her chest with its feet while she flew. And in the biggest roosts, she leaves it in a wall of hundreds of other babies while she hunts and comes back into that noise in the dark and picks out her own child by its voice and its smell out of hundreds of screaming identical babies, and she is almost never wrong. So think about what actually happened on your back steps. A mother the size of a plum came out of your roof, went to work over your grass, and asked you for absolutely nothing. She opened no bins. She took nothing out of your garden. She made no hole in your house. She ate the insects that were about to find your arms and the ones that were about to find a field of corn. And she did it for free. And there are whole harvests in your country that quietly survive on what bats pull out of the air at night. And then she folded herself back into the crack above your ceiling before the sky turned gray and slept 3 feet from your head while you slept, and you never knew she was there. And if you take one useful thing away from all of this, let it be this. If you ever seal a gap in your roof, do it in autumn, never in high summer, because in July that crack is full of babies who cannot fly yet. And there is somebody in your area who will come out and check it for you for nothing, and then sit with the size of it for a second. She can spend 30 years of her life inside a few hundred steps of your bed. She can pass your bedroom window 10,000 times. She can raise 30 children in a slot above your head and then be gone from the world without you. Ever once learning that she existed, we put lions and whales and elephants on posters and lunchboxes and calendars, and then something genuinely miraculous does slow loops over our own lawn, and we say, ugh, and go inside. She does not need you to love her. She needs 2 things from you. Stop being frightened of her and leave the crack alone. So the next time you're out there in the warm dark and something snaps sideways through the porch, light, do not reach for the door. Stay on the steps and watch what she can do with the air, because that is not a pest over your grass. That is the only mammal that ever taught itself to fly and then learned to see with sound. And out of every roof on your street, she chose yours. She's up there right now, folded up in the dark with her fingers closed, waiting for the light to drop, and the only thing standing between you and the strangest animal you will ever meet is a few boards, and the fact that nobody ever told you to look up.